Namaste, welcome to Flow and Restore Yoga on the second day of fall 2022. My name is Michelle Chua. Grab a couple of blocks, a strap, a blanket, and a pillow. Of course, anything else for your comfort, especially for the yin and restorative part in the end. We'll end with about 10 minutes of guided meditation, setting our intentions for this fall season. So let's begin in any comfortable seat that you choose that allows you to feel rooted into the surface below, where you can evenly spread your weight through the 4 points at the bottom of your pelvis, the front, the back, the left, and the right. Maybe even take a moment to shift your weight around and feel those 4 points. Then lifting the spine through the center. Here is a little writing by Michelle from Mystic Mama about the fall equinox. Whether we are in the northern or southern hemispheres, we are reminded that we are a part of a larger web of relations, embedded within a vast animate universe that has a greater rhythm, harmony, and flow. We are all in this cradle together, feeling gently swayed, hearing the distant melancholy lullabies carried by the winds. Yes, we've all been here before, but each new day feels different. And although we might be inhabiting familiar spaces and places, who we are from the inside and how we experience the world around has changed. There is a sense of aliveness and a vulnerability brought on by the facing of death, which is the gift of life after. As we cross this equinox threshold, we can release our prayers like leaves dancing in the wind and surrender to the greater flow. We can return to the simple, nourishing our souls with rest and simple pleasures. It's a time to be gentle with ourselves and each other, allowing all our feelings to be acknowledged and released. Here's to keeping our inner fires lit and remembering that every healing experienced and every act of love ripples in the field and is felt. It is never lost. So let's sit for a moment. Let the body be still. Maybe close the eyes. Bring your awareness to scan your physical body's sensations. And notice your physical state of being. Bring your attention to the breath as you just let it flow naturally. And notice your energetic state of being. Now bring your attention to your mind. Observe its energy, feeling active, calm, focused, spacious. And notice your your mental and emotional state of being. Now, what's one thing you can appreciate as you begin this practice today, sitting here now? What blessings have you enjoyed in the past season that are nourishing you now? And begin to clarify one thing you'd like to focus on in today's practice. Is there something calling your attention in any specific area of your life that perhaps guides you to setting a theme for autumn season? And as you've set your sankalpa, your intention, now call to mind someone that you care about, or a community, or a cause. And I invite you to dedicate this practice to them. Let's join our voices together as we share practice creating resonance as a community by chanting 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's continue into an enlivening, lung cleansing breathing technique, Bhastrika Pranayama. Let's practice it for a minute. So you might like to place your hands on the lowest sides of your ribs so that you feel your belly and your rib cage gently expand. So breathing in fully, filling it up, breathing out just as deeply through the nose. If you're okay with releasing the arms, there's also a physical action you could choose to do instead, a kriya in which you bend the elbows apart, make fists with your hands, and as you breathe in, straighten the arms, spread the fingers. As you breathe out, rebend your elbows and refist the hands. So take your choice of what to do with your arms, and I'm going to watch the clock for 1 minute of bellows breath practice. You might close your eyes, steady your gaze at the area of your pineal gland, Ajna chakra. And ready? Begin. Halfway through. And relax. Breathing naturally, pause and observe how you feel. Let's continue to breathe with the lips closed as we begin the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breathing. This will lead us into our vinyasa flow practice. So slowing the breath down, sustain it equally in and out through the nose. Create a gentle whispering sound by softly narrowing the back of your throat. So slow the breath down where you can feel the very top and the very bottom of each breath, taking your time. Placing your blocks in front of your mat, let's come down into downward facing dog. Hands flat on the floor, hips lifting high and back. Allow the first few breaths to experiment. Move your body organically any way it may need to let energy flow through it. As you tune in to the sound of your Ujjayi breathing, like soft ocean waves. On your next inhale, glide forward into the top of a push-up, entering plank pose. Let's pause there a few breaths, stacking your shoulders right above your wrists. Rotate your triceps towards the rear wall. Engage your abdomen. Know that you can lower your knees to the floor for added support where the knees are right under your hips. Otherwise, if your legs are straight, firm your inner heels back and activate the front muscles of your thighs. Gaze at the ground just ahead of your thumbs. And exhale, lift your tailbone up and back, downward facing dog. Let's go a step further like a push-up, entering only chaturanga. Inhale forward into plank pose, pause. Engage the belly, lengthen the spine. Exhale, glide forward, bend the elbows just 90 degrees to hug your ribs. Keep the neck long. Inhale, pause here, firming in the belly. Exhale, press up to plank, then downward facing dog. 2 more rounds as we build a little more heat. Know that you can lower the knees to the floor for added support. Inhale, glide forward, top of a push-up plank pose. Exhale, glide past the wrist, then bend the elbows to hug your ribs. 90-degree bend. Keep spreading the collarbones wide. Pause as you breathe in. Engage the belly as you exhale, press up, plank pose. Then lift the tailbone, downward facing dog. Last one. Inhale forward to plank. Rotate the triceps towards the back wall. Exhale, glide forward, lower to Chaturanga Dandasana. Pause, breathe in. Exhale, press up to plank, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend that knee and rotate your right thigh externally at the hip. As you inhale, tack the left outer hip further back. Exhale, bend the right knee towards your nose, contracting your belly as you round into plank. Then step the foot beside your right thumb, entering a high lunge. Stay on the ball of the left foot. Inhale, rise up into crescent lunge. Exhale, backstroke your right arm towards the rear wall, left arm towards the front wall, and turn your chest to the right, keeping the spine vertical. Inhale, raise the arms again, face forward, crescent lunge. Spin your left heel down, align right heel to arch of left foot, and exhale, open the arms to warrior 2. Keep your right knee bent. Inhale, side bend towards your rear wall in peaceful warrior, raising your right arm overhead. Exhale, lower your hands to the ground, back to downward facing dog. Downward dog. Inhale, come forward into top of a push-up plank. Exhale, lower forward through Chaturanga and all the way down. Root through the tops of your feet and inhale into Cobra. Peel your shoulders back. Lengthen the back of your neck. Exhale, tuck your toes. Lift your hips high and back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee and rotate the thigh open at the hip. Staying here, inhale, tack your right outer hip back. As you exhale, round forward and bend left knee towards your nose before lightly stepping the foot beside left thumb into a high lunge. Inhale, rise slowly to crescent pose. Exhale, backstroke the left arm, reach the right arm forward and twist to the left, vertical spine. Inhale, crescent lunge again, arms overhead. Drop the right heel, align left heel to arch of right foot. Exhale, open the arms to warrior 2. Inhale, side bend towards the rear wall, peaceful warrior. Exhale, lower to plank, continue into a vinyasa. This time, inhaling into cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling to downward facing dog. Let's pause, steady the gaze, and tune into 3 deep breaths. Here's our vinyasa flow. Let's take it for 2 more rounds on each side. Ready? Inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, bend the knee. Externally rotate the thigh. Inhale, stay here, tack left hip back. Exhale, round to plank, knee to nose. Step the foot beside the right thumb, high lunge. Inhale, rise to crescent pose. Twisting to the right, exhale, open your arms, keep your spine vertical. Inhale, return to crescent pose, arms overhead. Dropping the left heel, exhale to the left in warrior two. Inhale, side bend towards your rear wall, peaceful warrior. Exhale, lower your hands and continue into your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, turn open the thigh. Inhale, tack your right hip back. Exhale, knee to nose, round into plank. Step the foot beside left thumb, high lunge. Inhale, rise up to crescent pose. Exhale to your left, open arm twist. Gazing forward, inhale, return to crescent pose. Exhale to your right, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior, side bending. Exhale, hands to the earth. Continue into your vinyasa. Back to downward facing. Pause, rebalance the breath for 3 cycles. Last round. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, bend the knee, turn open the thigh. Inhale, tack left hip back. Exhale, knee to nose, step forward slowly to a high lunge. Inhale, root to rise, crescent pose. To the right, exhale, open arm twist. Facing forward, inhale, crescent pose. To the left, exhale, warrior two. Inhale, side bend, peaceful warrior. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Downward facing, last one. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, rotate your thigh open. Inhale, tack the right hip back. Exhale, knee towards nose, round through plank, step into a high lunge. Inhale, root to rise, crescent pose. Exhale to your left, open arm twist. Inhale, face forward, crescent lunge. To the right, exhale, warrior two. Inhale, side bend, peaceful warrior. Exhale, lower, vinyasa. Three breaths at downward facing dog. Calling on the fire element as we begin with the active yang portion of our practice. Bend your knees, look past your fingertips. After exhaling, walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees together. Inhale, chair pose. Slowly begin to lower into boat pose, sitting down. Either catch the backs of your knees and kick your feet forward, or take it hands-free. Knees bent or legs straight. As you draw your navel in and up, try to use more of the contraction of your abdomen, less of the hip flexors contracting, to lift your spine tall. Stay here or exhale, lower halfway down to Ardha Navasana, half boat. If you're in Ardha, inhale there, then exhale, rise back to Navasana. 2 more rounds if you're moving. Inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale, exhale, lift. Bend the knees apart and catch hold of your big toes with your peace fingers as though you were in a floating happy baby pose. Lift from your pelvic floor, lengthen the spine, relax the shoulders, and breathe. Now let's play a little. Play in the flow here. Maybe you bring the feet together as they're raised off the ground. Maybe you straddle the legs wide, lifting your heart. Maybe you play a little peaceful bow and arrow, shooting love into the world, bending the right knee towards your outer right shoulder, and then switching sides. How's the breath here? Then start to bend the knees together, rocking forward and back several times, building momentum so that you can eventually land standing at the top of your mat. Whoo! So connecting to our center, the core. Let's join the hands in prayer. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Turn open your right thigh at the hip. Either come into tree pose or figure four shaped chair in which you flex the right foot and cross the ankle over the left thigh, bending the left knee as you draw your hips back. So tree or figure four chair. If you're in figure four chair, there's an option to raise the arms, place them on blocks, or enter an arm balance of flying single pigeon, where you plant the hands about a foot in front of your left foot on the floor. Look ahead of your fingertips to shift your weight forward. Bend the elbows back, arms parallel to each other like chaturanga, and cross the right shin on top of your upper arms, clasping the top of the right foot around left upper arm, and maybe extending the left leg behind you. Whatever version of playing with balance you're in, listen to last few breaths. Start to make your way into mountain pose. Both feet on the ground, hands together at your heart. Pause and tune in for a moment. Fall season, at least here in LA and California, is often characterized by winds, air element. Those of you with Vata dosha, heavy with the air element, can feel quite restless, out of balance. So how do we play with connecting to our center in those external circumstances that might throw us off the feeling of groundedness? Here we go. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Rotate the left thigh open at the hip. Come into the same posture if you can as you did on the first side, tree, or flex the left foot and cross the ankle over the right thigh, sitting back, maybe arms up, maybe prepare for flying single pigeon arm balance. Tune into your tools that you're using here, that yoga offers, for connecting to an inner state of balance. Ujjayi breathing, steady gaze, physical alignment, focus. Start to make your way back to Padasana. Standing tall in mountain pose, hands together in prayer at the heart, pausing and tuning in. Does anything feel activated in you right now? Or is there anything to acknowledge? Remind yourself of the intention you set for this practice. And from here, let's lower down to the floor, stomach to the ground in Sphinx pose. So lying down with your legs straight behind you. Elbows to the floor as you lift the chest. As you're in Sphinx, slide your knees as close together as you can. And let's prepare to open up the fronts of the thighs, the quadriceps, maybe the hip flexors, and the fronts of the shoulders. Crossing your left forearm on the ground in front of your chest. Bend your right knee. Backstroke your right arm and catch hold of the big toe side of your right ankle or foot. Stabilize your lower back here by keeping your knees no wider apart than your hips distance and by pressing your 2 frontal hip bones into the ground. Turn your chest completely to face forward. And as you listen to your breath, gently bring the right heel slightly to the outside of your right hip while relaxing your shoulders back and down. About 7 breaths here. Gently come back to Sphinx pose. Both elbows to the ground. Slide your knees close together again. And cross your right forearm in front of your chest and bend your left knee. Backstroke your left arm and catch the big toe side of the foot. Knees no wider than hips distance. Round your 2 frontal hip bones. Turn your chest completely to face forward. And as you listen to about 7 breaths, bring the left heel slightly to the outside of your left hip. Relax your jaw, relax the shoulders. Gently release, and let's press up onto hands and knees. Preparing for thread the needle. You can either have both knees on the floor, which is the traditional way to practice it as we twist, or you can step your right foot out to the right so the right leg is straight and the sole of the foot is on the floor flat, with your inner arch of your right foot aligned with your left knee. But choose how you want to set up the legs, and if you find that the right leg out to the side makes it more cumbersome, you could place the right knee back down. With an inhale, raise your right arm towards the sky and open your chest and upper back. As you exhale, thread your right arm under your left bent elbow. With your right palm face up, lower the right side of your head all the way down. And if your head does not comfortably meet the ground, use any of your props like a pillow. Make sure your head is supported. Flare your left elbow up towards the ceiling with the left fingertips on the ground towards the upper left corner of your mat. And try to level out your hips so that you're not twisting the pelvis. You're turning the rib cage gently, sending the shoulder blades down your back ribs. Stay here for about 8 more slow breaths. Listen in. Gently press up, back to hands and knees. Before we switch sides, I invite you to 3 rounds of cat-cow. You might even like to give your inner wrist a stretch by spinning your fingertips out to the left and right sides of the mat or towards your knees. As you inhale, slowly glide your chest through your upper arms, tilting it up, drop the shoulders. As you exhale, contract your belly, slowly dropping your head to round the back. Couple more. Betalasana. Then relax to a neutral spine, turning the index fingers to face forward again. If you stepped your right foot out to the right on the first side, try to do the same with the left foot out to the left. Inhale, raise your left arm high. Exhale, thread it under your right bent elbow. Lower the left side of your head on support, the ground, a folded blanket. Turning the left palm to face up as you flare the right elbow towards the sky. Place the right fingertips on the ground towards the upper right corner of your mat. And then try to feel your hips, re-level them so that you're not turning the pelvis, but rather you're turning the rib cage gently. Softening the shoulders away from your neck. Let's stay for about 8 more breaths. Then gently press up to your hands and knees again. And this time, lean back towards your shin so that we can stretch the outer wrist by making fists with your hands and giving yourself a fist bump. Place the backs of your fists, keeping that fist bump, onto the floor about 1 foot in front of your knees so that your elbows are flaring off the ground apart. Then gently shift your weight forward to feel the amount of intensity you want to stretch your outer wrists and forearms with. As we stay a few breaths, observe your neck and shoulders, your facial muscles, consciously relax them. You'll be fluttering the lips to unwind any tension from your jaw. Finish one more deep breath here. Then lean back onto your shins and gently shake out your arms and wrists. Grab a strap, have a block near the rear end of your mat, and let's come down onto our backs. Maybe you want to even have 2 blocks near the rear end of your mat, just in case. More options. Set the strap aside for now and let's lie down with the knees bent. Separate your feet about mat width apart. Separate your knees as wide apart as your feet. Then drop your knees to the right into an open twist, pointing your left knee down the midline of your mat. Notice how this feels particularly at the front of your left hip and the left side of your lower back. This is the area of your psoas, which can get really tight if you tend to sit a lot, among other things. If you're feeling enough happening here, stay here. If you're needing to feel more sensation, lift your right foot and cross the ankle just above your left knee, adding a little weight to encourage the front of the left thigh to lengthen forward. Either way, you might also stretch the sides of your torso by raising your arms overhead and catching hold of bent elbows, dropping the arms, relaxing the shoulders. And let's stay here for about 10 slow breaths, really finding the full range of each breath. When you've finished counting 10 slow breaths, begin to lift your knees again. Separate your feet on the mat, about mat width apart, and pause a moment, dropping the knees together to touch. Rest your palms face down on your lower abdomen and allow for 3 deep breaths. This position is a gentle way to broaden the lower back, stretch wide across it. Now keep your feet as wide apart, separate your knees as wide apart as your feet. And let's drop the knees to the left side. Coming into an open twist, point your right knee down the center line of your mat. Pause and notice the sensations you're experiencing around the right side of your pelvis. What's your body saying? Does it need you to go further or stay right here? If you need to go further, pick up your left foot and cross the ankle just above your right knee. Either way, if you raise your arms on the first side, do the same and switch the cross of the elbow on top. Count another 10 slow breaths. Listen to the quality of your breathing. When you finish counting your 10 breaths, gently uncross the legs. Separate the feet on the mat, about mat width, and again drop your knees together to touch as you rest your palms face down on your lower belly. 3 breaths. Please find your strap. Separate your feet about hips width apart. Separate the knees just the same amount. Bend your right knee into your chest and step the ball of your right foot into the loop or center of the strap. Kick your right foot up towards the sky as you hold the strap with 2 hands. Keep your right leg straight and flex the front muscle of your right thigh. Keep your shoulders on the ground, neck long, and begin to bend the elbows apart, bringing the right leg closer to your chest as you breathe. If you're needing to feel more intensity as we open the right hamstring, slide your left leg onto the ground straight and flex your left foot, pressing the instep of that foot forward, preventing the left leg from externally rotating at the hip. Let's give it about 8 more breaths here. In supine hand to big toe pose, Supta Uttita Hasta, Arangushtasana. You might opt to hold the back of your right heel instead of the strap if it's close enough without straining the shoulders. Bend your right knee into your chest, removing the strap. Hug your right thigh towards your right ribs. Circle your right foot at the ankle, both directions. Then step your right foot on the ground and step the ball of your left foot into the strap. Kick into the strap with your left foot as you raise the left leg towards the sky. Flexing the front muscle of your left thigh, hold the strap with two hands. Bend the elbows apart as you slowly bring the left leg towards your chest, keeping that leg straight. And if your left hamstring is willing, maybe you also straighten the right leg on the floor, flex the right foot, and press the instep forward. You might also take hold of the back of your left heel if that's reachable instead of the strap. Keep spiraling your inner right thigh towards the floor if your right leg is straight on the ground. About 5 more breaths here. Then bend your left knee into your chest. Hug your thigh to the left ribs and circle your left foot in both directions. Wind relieving pose, Apanasana. Stepping your 2 feet on the ground, take one of your blocks and lifting your pelvis, slide that block wide across your mat under your sacrum, the flat part of your lower back. Adjust it any way you need to feel comfortably supported, and you might choose 2 blocks or 1, then lift the legs straight up. Placing your palms face down in your belly can feel grounding in this position. Now let's stay for another 10 slow breaths. So this is Viparita Karani, legs up the wall pose without the wall. A way to restore your nervous system to a feeling of balance and calm. Help to rejuvenate your circulatory system and your digestive system. Stay in tune with your breathing. Long, balanced breaths. When you finish 10 slow breaths, gently step your feet onto the ground and remove the block or blocks from underneath. Hug your bent knees into your chest and rock gently side to side. Turning to one side, slowly press yourself up. Try not to lift the head up too quickly. So I invite you into a restorative fish pose for our Shavasana, corpse pose. Of course, you can opt to lay flat if you prefer that. You can also rest the backs of your knees on a pillow, either position. So have the pillow ready for your knees if you're using it. And for restorative bridge, which helps to open up the chest, the breath, relax the shoulders, take your 2 blocks, place one at the rearmost edge of your mat, either at the tallest height, this is a moderate version of it, or medium height crossing the mat, which will make the lift in the chest feel higher. Second block, place it across the mat, medium height, closer to you. With your pelvis on the floor, turn your face away from the blocks, set up your legs. If you don't care to have your legs extended forward, you can also bend the knees apart and bring the soles of your feet together in Supta Baddha Konasana, supine bound angle. As you keep your pelvis on the floor, start to lean back, find the area that's right beneath the bottom tips of your shoulder blades to land across the first block, allowing your chest to lift and your shoulder bones to drop. Then rest the back of your skull, not the back of the neck, the back of the skull, onto the second block. Invite a sense of symmetry as you make any small adjustments needed, turning your palms to face up as you rest the backs of your hands beside your legs. Let the feet flop apart, relax the legs, let the pelvis be heavy on the ground, let all your bones become heavier and heavier. Then through the nose, slowly breathe in, imagine filling up your whole body with prana, life force energy through the breath. Hold the breath in for a few seconds. And if you can, even slower, empty the breath through the lips. Surrendering all effort in your breathing, in your body, and resting in stillness. Gift yourself presence here as we stay for a few minutes in Shavasana. As you rest here a little longer with eyes closed, begin to scan your physical body again, observing its sensations. Notice the effect of your yoga practice on your body. Then gently begin to wiggle fingers, toes, softly turning your head. Ease into a simple stretch. Maybe keeping your eyes closed to help tune inward. Gradually turn over onto your right side, resting your head on your arm. Pause there. Now notice the way your body is naturally breathing. Has anything shifted in the way you feel energetically? Take your time pressing your hands into the earth, rising into a comfortable seat for about 10 minutes of guided meditation. This meditation is to continue to reflect on this new season, elaborating on the intention that you set or theme that you choose. To sit in a way that your body can feel grounded, you can feel alert and at ease. I invite you into a mudra that calls upon the 5 elements of the earth as we celebrate a seasonal transition. It can be helpful to remember how much we are also nature. As we watch the nature change around us, nature within us exists too. So the elements of fire, water, air, earth, space, or ether are represented in each of the fingertips. And a mudra that calls upon balance of the elements around, but mostly within, is to bring the 5 fingertips of each hand together, like you're holding the earth in your palms, and then resting the arms in front of you. To sit tall, choose to either close your eyes or steady a soft gaze ahead. Invite stillness into your body and allow the breath to gently flow like a natural river on its own as you continue to observe the breath. Feel yourself grounded here in the present moment. Connected to your physical body, your earth body. And connected to creative life force energy that flows through you and all that's living around you. In the practice of setting an intention, let's begin with counting our blessings, cultivating gratitude. So we started a little bit of this at the beginning of this practice. I invite you to elaborate. How have you been nourished and supported throughout the past few months of summer? Allow any images, maybe words, or just space itself to feel what you appreciate. Acknowledge all whom supported you, the seen and the unseen, those we can see with your physical eyes, and the support that you feel intuitively. What teachers have surfaced in the past few months that nurture your evolution of consciousness? Teachers of all forms, including challenges that you've been through and have helped you to evolve. Allow your heart, your whole being, to immerse in genuine gratitude. In setting an intention for this new season, autumn, is there any specific area in your life that is calling your attention? Perhaps it's wanting you to nurture some part of yourself, or nurture a relationship, or strengthen a quality, or let go of something. I invite you into self-inquiry, pausing for 1 minute to allow space for anything to arise. Maybe it arises during this meditation. Maybe a thought hits you later. Or maybe it's a felt sense, something more subtle you feel in the body or energetically, a vision or image, whatever it may be. I invite you to ask yourself this question: what is calling my attention in my life right now? Let's pause for a minute. Now I invite you into another question to ask your inner being. In the area that's calling my attention, what does it need? What do I need? Now, is there any theme, a quality that comes up for you that you would like to focus on in these coming months throughout the season of fall? It might be a single word, a phrase, a statement, like a positive affirmation. For the next minute, I invite you to call that in, create the feeling tone or bhavanam of that in the present moment, of you experiencing that which you are calling in for fall. What does it look like? Visualize the context. What does your human self look like experiencing this? What does it sound like? Are words being communicated? What does it feel like? Allow any and all of your senses to interact with this reality you're creating now. Give yourself the freedom and permission to create without limitation. Now sense the way you feel mentally and emotionally. What might you do to remind yourself in the coming days, weeks, and months of this intention that you're setting now for this autumn season? Call to mind to whom or what you dedicated today's practice to. You might visualize them enjoying benefit from it. And let's close, connecting through sound, creating resonance with each other and all of life, creative life around us. Inhale deeply. acknowledging the light within you. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.